Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. On this video, I'm going to use my Glowforge to engrave a wooden cutting board. Now, one of my favorite recipes of my mother's was her open face peach pie. I've done one board so far. It turned out really nicely, but I'm making a couple for my sisters. So in this video, I'll show you how I did it. Now the first thing is, most of the cutting boards are more than a 1/2 inch thick, and so you have to remove your crumb tray. I've already removed mine, but you open this door, and it can be rather stiff to open. Then you have to build up your project to get it high enough so that the Glowforge will meet your material. And I plan to do an entire video on that, because if you're not really into math, it can be a little bit daunting at first to figure it out. Once you understand how to do it though, it's really simple. Here's the cutting board that I'm going to engrave on tonight. It's a little bit larger than the first one was, and I actually need to turn this sideways on the bed of my Glowforge. Then I just close the front door, close the lid, and then I'll go ahead and turn on the power to my Glowforge and my filter, and I'll move over to the computer. I've opened the Glowforge software, and I'm going to click on Create, Upload from File. Here's my file. Notice the question mark after Final. I'm pretty sure I'm done with this file, but not 100% sure yet. So Glowforge is doing its thing. It's processing the file, and it'll show it to us here in just a minute. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to go ahead and rotate this file. And fortunately, I have some straight lines on the board, so I can kind of make sure that I'm fairly straight with those lines. Then I want to make this image a lot larger. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now what I'm using is the center dot here, and I'm trying to center it under this grab handle here. I could have actually put a tape across here and marked the center. That probably would have been a great idea, but I didn't do that. Since I thought of it, I think I will go and put a piece of tape so that I can see the center. Now you can see I have a piece of tape, and this black line is the center of the board. My board was right at about 10 inches wide. So I'm putting the center of my design even with that. And then I'll kind of do a reality check by looking at it. And I can see from this side to the edge is about the same as this side to this edge. Since this is a heavier side and there's not that much over here, I'm actually going to push it just a little bit this way. Then I want to look at it from top to bottom and make sure I like the placement there as well. And I think that looks fine. So I'm going to click on Unknown, use Uncertified Materials. I'm going to use the setting 0.2 inches. Now the way I came up with that is I measured the thickness of the crumb tray. Some people say it's 1.3 something something, but I think they're missing the little nubby feet. So what I did is I measured the thickness of the crumb tray with a flat board under it. Then I subtracted the thickness of the flat board under it, and I came up with 1.41. So I'm just going to say 1.4. Now usually you can have something up to 1/2 inch thick. So your total thickness could be anywhere between 1.41 and about 1.9. So the wood pieces that I used to build it up plus the thickness of the board is 1.6. So if I take that 1.6 minus the typical thickness of the crumb tray, 1.4, that leaves me 0.2. So that's how I came up with 0.2 in thickness. So for my settings, I'm going to click on Engrave, and I'll go down here to Manual. I want a speed of 1200 and precision power of 100. I'm going to keep this maximum quality, and then I'm going to change my lines per inch. Similar to dots per inch in a picture, this just helps the resolution. and I'm going to go with 340. Now the last thing I want to do is just set the focus so I can make sure I don't need to adjust this just a little bit. So click on the three dots, click Set Focus, then you can drag this red square or corners of a square and kind of put it in the center of what you're going to be working on. So click right there, and then it's going to refocus. Okay, now that it refocused, I want to go ahead and click on my image one more time, make sure it really is where I want it. Now, I was having a hard time seeing exactly where the board ended, so I have this little bit of white tape here, just a little bit over there. That's going to help me know whether it's centered, and I really feel like it needs to come this way quite a bit. So let's go ahead and click on it. It may not technically be centered, but it's so heavy on this side that I just felt it needed to move a little bit. Then I'll click off of it so that I get the thing that was down here to go away. And I think I'll move just a tiny bit more. Okay, I like that. So remember we were at 0.2 and then our settings, I'll go back, we clicked engrave, we did manual settings, a speed of 1200, a power of 100, and then I want to go ahead and maximize the resolution. So I'll do 340. Now we're ready to print, so I click on print. Now the Glowforge is calculating how long it's going to take for this to engrave. And it does take quite a while, but I think it's so worth it. So you see it's going to take 1 hour and 14 minutes. I will speed this way up. You're only going to have to watch for a couple minutes. Now before I go in there and push that magic blue button, I want to let you know I have a link below in the description. If you're interested in purchasing a Glowforge and you use my link, then you can get $100 off a basic model. That's what I have, $250 off a plus, and $500 off a pro. And then Glowforge also gives me a referral fee, so I truly, truly appreciate it. Glowforge doesn't tell me how to contact you, and so I can't give you a proper thank you. So I'll just thank you in advance if you happen to use that. All right, it is done. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. I love that. Now, I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on it. I don't recommend you do this over your Glowforge. But I want to just be able to take care of this right here before we finish the video. What I have found is the cutting boards really don't need to be masked. They clean up beautifully. Now I just cleaned that up with a little bit of olive oil. I love this. It turned out gorgeous. I think I mentioned earlier that I traced my mother's handwriting in Procreate, and I have a separate video on that. So if you're interested in that, check out that video. My mom would have been 95 tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me. Until the next video. Bye-bye.